13 days from Survivor Series, and Raw comes to us from jolly old England. We got Rollins, we've got Walter, and finally Jerry Lawler thanks Dio Matter for taking that F5. We're talking about all of that tonight on the Monday Night Raw After Show and AfterBuzz TV. Let's go.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, AfterBuzz.
Boom! Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's the Monday Raw After Show and AfterBuzz TV. It's your boy Flobo Boyce, getting the sensual sounds of Mac, Lish. M&T Mac is gone, but his music is still here. He's not actually charging for royalties. I love it. Monday Raw comes from us from jolly old England, Manchester, United Kingdom. We're talking about all the matches, all the results, and all the good stuff. Before we do, let's introduce our panel. On the far, far left, he is the leader of the Brock Flock, the Hall of Farmer, and the voice of AEW Dynamite on AfterBuzz TV, Mr. Jack Farmer.
Howdy, partner.
How's it going, sir?
I'm hanging in there.
That's good to hear. And a special guest, this man on Jack's right, my left, is a co-host of the Monday Night Raw After Show in Espanol, the resident wrestling historian, and the host of AfterBuzz TV's WWE pay-per-view coverage, Mr. George Hermoza.
That's me.
Yeah, how's it going? You good?
I'm going good. How are you guys?
You didn't call me a partner. I feel like sometimes you can be a partner too. Can you be a partner?
We can all be
We can
partners.
all be partners.
We're like the best trio.
Oh, yeah,
Screw New Day.
But we got one more though. We got one more because in the booth right now it's Macho Libro, Josh Alonso. How's it going?
What's up, guys? How
We're tackling everything. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Dang and Q, Michael Blake, Joseph Joseph, the real YT. Apparently, Jack Farmer says no spoilers about the Monday Night Football game as we're going live here.
Please no.
Yeah, that Raider game was crazy. That Raiders Chargers game was crazy.
I'm like sweating that it's gonna get ruined for me.
I'm just winning the booth right now. Happy Veterans Day for all who serve, and as a United States Air Force reject, I respect what you do. Okay, guys, overall thoughts on today's episode. Survivor Series is on the horizon, 13 days away. Raw gives us this from Manchester. Just how you feel? What's the vibe?
Lots of folks on this episode, whether they're invading, whether they're supposed to be part of the show. It seems like a lot of people got TV time today, which is always good.
It was interesting. I always look forward to these England shows because the crowd's always lively. But I don't know if it's the show itself, but I'm a little disappointed in the crowd. I feel like it's been like the previous years, like they've been a little bit more energetic. I don't know if it's just the product themselves or maybe I'm kind of curious because I know they taped this episode of Raw on Friday.
Right.
Did they tape it after SmackDown?
Right after SmackDown, 6 hours.
So maybe they were just tired or.
But even on
knows?
SmackDown, the crowd was kind of like light too. It felt like, at least to me, they weren't doing the chants like they used to do or going with it.
I mean, there was some chanting involved in one specific segment, but
yeah.
But I think even early on in a show that you know is going to be that long, you don't come in with a lot of heat.
Yeah.
If you're a fan, you're like, okay, we got a 6-hour show.
Right.
You're not like first match, yeah, crazy.
You're bringing blankets
you're like,
and.
Let's chill
Have you
for
ever
a little
done
bit.
that? Have you gone to a show where that's been 4 or 5 hours? You try to temper your excitement. You're just like, don't blow myself. Don't.
No, I've not been in a show. I'm assuming like because when I've been to like the movies that are long or like I know with Endgame for instance, you go see that and it's gonna be 3.5 hours.
True.
You go in knowing you're gonna be sat there for a bit. So I imagine a 6-hour show, you're not shooting off fireworks to begin.
But you kind of know, like, because you just said, like, you went into Endgame knowing it's going to be a 3-hour movie. You go into SmackDown or Raw, you know how long the shows are going to be. You know it's going to be 2 hours for SmackDown, another 3 hours for Raw. My guess is maybe some of the commercials weren't because since they weren't live, they didn't sit there and had to time it for commercials. But I mean, it's okay. I mean,
yeah.
I just feel like maybe I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a product or just in general. Like I feel like before I was always looking forward to how these England crowd gonna react to.
It's a good point. And on top of that, we're 13 days away from Survivor Series, first ever tri-branded Survivor Series. Just overall thoughts about this episode's Raw push to that story. Just what you guys got to think about that. Are we doing a good job? Are we behind? Are we ahead of the curve? What's going on?
I thought it was a little clunky with the NXT invasion side of things because it seems like it had been undisputed era this whole time, and suddenly now they're not involved. And I understand logistically it makes sense to have Imperium step in and fill that role, but it felt a little like randomly different people were now coming in.
Yeah.
Again, logistically it absolutely makes sense, but from a viewer standpoint, sitting back here in California, it seemed a little awkward
George Hermoza, what's missing?
Just an overall. Okay, so overall, because I've been looking forward to talking about this specific subject. Overall, if Survivor Series is going to be from now on Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT, and we see NXT kind of show up on Raw and SmackDown and just kind of, infiltrate the shows, I'm all for it. Like, I like this kind of new talent, this new fresh faces. Seth Rollins versus Walter, a fresh matchup. But kudos to the OC, though. Like, we saw them on Raw last week. We saw them on NXT in Orlando. We saw them on Raw today. Like, they had a busy week. But just overall, to what you guys were saying, like, maybe they weren't going to fly out too much NXT guys to the United Kingdom. Right. Obviously, Shayna was there. So I think maybe we're going to see maybe a bigger push this upcoming Friday and Monday. But I just feel like maybe they just weren't going to do it too much, considering they didn't want to fly out a bunch of these guys overseas because they still have a show to do this upcoming Wednesday live from Full Sail.
That's a good point. Speaking of the OC, they're in the main event tonight. The OC takes on the unlikely team of Randy Orton, Ricochet, and Humberto Carrillo. Yes, it's a 6-man tag team match. Player. Okay, Randy Orton's in the mix. We didn't know what side is he on. Thoughts about the match, Jack, and the idea of Humberto Carrillo being in another main event on Raw. Your boy.
So I loved the match was great. I thought it was fun. It had a lot of people that I really enjoyed. And Humberto, again, if he feels to me, he's solid. It feels like they're really trying to force him into these spots. I think I would personally rather see a Cedric Alexander in a spot like this. But I think he did fine. I think the match was really fun. It was exciting. He has one of the most pretty moonsaults I've seen in a long, long time, as I've said before. It's pretty. It's a pretty moonsault.
Like it.
And I thought it was really good. It's the pairing did seem weird. The match itself and why these guys are having a match seemed very weird. I don't know why they all had beef for some reason. Clearly, they're trying to get some Randy Orton, Ricochet stuff going on, and I don't know what's going on. But overall, the match was good, so I was excited about it.
Randy Orton is kind of a guy that kind of just goes wherever he feels like it. Heel, face, I do my own thing. Are you on board for a feud between him and Ricochet?
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier, and maybe this means a full-time face turn for Randy Orton. We haven't seen him be babyface in a little bit. I'm a big Randy Orton fan. I think he's one of the best of all time. Mm-hmm. Maybe not top 10, but I'm happy that maybe he's gonna be doing a lot more stuff now, because in the past year or so, we've seen kind of Randy Orton kind of show up and not show up to face Kofi, then doesn't show up, then some stuff with the Revival, but then they got split up. But I hope that whether it's feuding with Ricochet or even, I hope they're not teaming, because we all know how much I hate just random two people just being put together, or not nothing can be like Rick KO. Like, I know, like I don't want to see just two guys just randomly. But
Rick KO would be a good team.
Wait,
Ricochet and
Rick KO, not Ric Flair. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. So I mean, even I wouldn't want them to team, but I would like them to maybe like, hey, like kind of like a mentor, because Randy Orton's been around for a very long time. Ricochet, obviously not new to wrestling, but new to WWE. Maybe kind of that mentoring role. That maybe can lead up at some point to a Ricochet Randy Orton program, which I would love to see, because I feel like Randy Orton would do best in that scenario.
I was gonna say, I loved how this match ended, by the way, with the tease that he was gonna RKO Ricochet, and then the surprise RKO onto AJ Styles, because I didn't see that coming.
Right.
I thought it was gonna be pretty by the book. Randy Orton turned
like
on
out
Ricochet.
Of nowhere?
Out of nowhere.
Okay. And I think it makes that rivalry or pairing more interesting than just Randy Orton saying, I'm going to RKO somebody, now we're feuding. Now I'm wondering what the next step of this whole thing is. Whether they are going to be a team or whether they are going to go at it. But either way, I think it's going to be great for Ricochet, because it's going to give him that rub with a top-level, all-timer type person.
Sorry, you're saying?
I was going to say, and kind of going on what you guys were saying about Humberto Carrillo, I don't know what it is, and I say this about on the Raw after show on Espanol all the time, where I just don't think he's ready. Like, I see a lot of his moves. They don't really look that crisp. Like, for example, he does a lot of cool moves, and a lot of the same moves that Phoenix would do. Mm-hmm. But like Phoenix just looks just completely amazing when he does it.
Yeah.
I feel like Humberto Carrillo, it's almost as if like a poor man's Phoenix, where it's like I feel like he's got the right mentality as far as what to do in the ring. It just doesn't look as crisp as I would like for it to do for a guy that's doing those things.
We got the shine pin in AJ Styles today, though.
And this is
Great,
why
beautiful moonsault.
This is why I think a pretty moonsault. And this is why I say I think he's being pushed up. Is I think if he was doing the exact same things, but in a match with Sin Cara earlier in the night, we would say he's great. He's got a great future. He's doing everything right. But when you're putting him in the ring with that level of people, you're judging him on a different level.
Right.
And I think he's just not quite there yet. I think he could be. I think he's great, but I think right now it's still a little bit like, who is this guy? Well, he's not shining quite as bright as everyone else.
Good point, but I gotta do a counterpoint because I don't really mind him. I'm officially neutral on the guy, but it reminds me of like
You can't be neutral.
Strong.
You have to choose a side.
But here's
Don't you read
thing.
the internet? You have to choose a side.
Right.
I can't like everything, but it reminds me of music, right? This year is a year of Billie Eilish, and I don't understand it, but they play her song so many times.
I'm neutral.
I'm like
her.
a bad guy. Yeah, I'm neutral on her.
You're a bad guy. You should like her.
Yeah, I'm a face. But what I'm saying is maybe to put him in these matches that they may get us traction that way. How else do you build new stars without featuring the guy and high traffic matches as far as like time periods and whatnot?
Well, not everyone has to be hot shot to the main event. Like I said, he could beat Sin Cara. He could have a feud with Cedric Alexander. He could have feuds in a tag team with other tag teams. There's other things for him to do, but to go right into a match featuring Randy Orton, to have to pick up a microphone right after the Street Profits have talked, they're putting him next to people who are just at a different level. And I think that's hurting him long term. Could he be there eventually? Yes. Is he there today? No.
Yeah, I think his music is trash too. But moving on, Jack, you cut a promo and tell the world how they can listen to this AfterBuzz show and other AfterBuzz shows.
Hey everybody, I'm Jack Farmer here with AfterBuzz TV. Thank you for helping to make us the ESPN of TV talk. And we love providing this content for you free of charge. And one of the ways we do that is through our wonderful sponsors. How do we get sponsors, you ask? Great question. They check how many likes, comments, subscribes, 5-star reviews we get. So if you could do us a big favor and go ahead and hit that little thumbs up button, type a little comment in there, let us know what you think, leave a review, a 5-star review. Those are the things that get us the sponsors. Those are the things that keep this free. Those are the things that keep us chatting. So let's do it, baby. Put that 5-star review up.
Yours is so slick, man. Come on, baby. Put the 5 stars up there. Tonight's curious case of Seth Rollins, man. He's coming out here and he's basically telling on a promo, please still like me. Please like me. Saying he wants the United Kingdom's best. Telegraphs a Walter appearance, and everyone's up to a match. Before we even get to what the match evolves into, let's talk about Seth Rollins for a bit. Here's a guy that was on top of the world, Universal Champion, loses the belt. Everyone's saying from Timbuktu to Toronto that his doesn't have anymore. Promos aren't really hitting and as much anymore. The audience seems to be pretty flat. Thoughts about Seth Rollins and where he's going next, George?
I'm pondering all the time on where he went wrong. Right, because there's a lot of similarities with him and Shawn Michaels in terms of like winning the championship at WrestleMania, then really being the guy when they need him to be the guy. And he had some good matches with AJ Styles, but I just feel like a lot of it was maybe the opponents weren't as strong for him that emphasized him, because we all know Seth Rollins can go. His in-ring ability has never been in question, but just a lot of it just sometimes he just needs to kind of, I feel like he's still holding back a little bit. Just let go. You know, and like be the guy that Shawn was, you know, back when people thought that he was a little cheesy and corny. Boom, he comes out with this match with Mankind where it's like, oh my God, like, I didn't know he can do that. Like, the guy's amazing. He needs that kind of match. Like, he just needs a strong physical match that shows, like, dude, this guy is badass. But I don't know. I'm thinking that maybe his storyline with Becky maybe kind of derailed him a little bit.
Doesn't hurt him. Didn't help him.
But it's one of those where it's like you have the WWE or the Universal Championship, but then you have a T-shirt that says he's the man's man.
Yeah,
like, well, I don't know.
He didn't make a T-shirt.
No, but I'm saying like it's easy to say now, like, oh, at the time, like it sounded like a good idea, but like. And even maybe a lot of fans would say, like, oh, I don't think that really affected him. But I think subliminally, a lot of those things does.
You know what? I'm coming to Seth Rollins' defense. I don't think it's his fault. I think he is.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
He is the face of WWE right now. And when you're the face of WWE, you have to do things a certain way. You've got to be the vanilla baby face. That's just the way it is. John Cena was. Roman Reigns was.
You know who wasn't? Steve Austin.
Steve
Austin wasn't the face.
You know who else? The Rock wasn't.
The Rock also wasn't the face. The Rock and Stone Cold.
But when they were the face of the company, when
they were the face of the company, sure. But the thing is about The Rock and Cena and Stone Cold, I cut you off, Jack, is that we talk about Cena's 5 moves of doom. Cena never spammed the AA multiple times in a match. That's what makes him corny, at least to me. You can't curb stop someone 4 times and second to be like, okay, I believe it.
Well, no, and you're right. I think the Attitude Era stuff was an outlier because that was a short period of time where things were different. But
as you say, sipping your whiskey.
As I said, different times.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do agree. I think one of the things that WWE needs to learn right now is when it's time to lay off the gas a little bit. It's okay to make certain people vulnerable. You look back to like the Stone Colds and the Rocks, they took L's regularly. They got beat up regularly. Where Seth Rollins always seems to come out looking super strong, yet then he comes out angry about wanting to burn it down. And it's like, dude, you are the thing you're trying to burn down. What are you talking about?
That's what Punk told Cena. Like, you become like the Yankees of wrestling or whatever.
Right. And so I think what they need to do is de-accelerate him a little bit, let him take some L's, let him become a guy we can root for, because right now he's just the unbeatable corporate champion, whether he likes it or not.
I think yes and no. I don't think it's a case of they need to de-accelerate him. I think it's more so of he needs to accelerate. Because yes, he is being the guy that they need him to be, but he needs to be more than that. He needs to be the guy. Like right now, he just kind of blends in. Like no, like right now, like you think who like the best in-ring talent is. Like I'm gonna go with AJ. I'm gonna go with even like somebody like Roman, who I think is always one of the main guys, and it can always go. Like I don't know. I feel like Seth Rollins gets lost in the shuffle. Whose fault is that? Is that his fault or is that the company's fault? I think it's his fault. He's somebody who you get. It's cool that he's going out there and saying like, oh screw AEW, Kenny Omega, he's better than that, blah, blah, blah. That's cool and all, but now you need to be more than that. You need to be the guy that Shawn was in '96.
I don't count Twitter, by the way, in all this. I don't count social media. That's his personal life. I'm talking about the character on
Twitter's
TV.
gospel, though.
And we know that, like we live in an age where we know that he's told what to say on screen. We know that he's given a script. We know that he's told how certain matches are supposed to go. So when we go back to things like the Hell in a Cell match that he gets so much trash for, it wasn't his idea to do that. He was told to do that.
Right.
That he was playing the role he was given. It's not his fault. I think he can still be the great Seth Rollins that we all once used to love, that was once the internet darling, the one that we all wanted to be the champion. I think what they need to do, though, is quit forcing him into these spots and let him be Seth Rollins.
Yeah, that promo tonight didn't do any favors. In fact, it was a bit of a relief when Imperium and Walter came out and called themselves the, quote, the Wing General. Walter? Is that even close how you pronounce it? I'm not even saying that. They had a match. The match basically ended up in a disqualification where KO and the Street Profits come out. So now we have an 8-man tag team match. Oh. And they were problem solved, yo. Okay, other things are big here. KO comes out of nowhere running as fast as he can, his little bitty legs. Street Profits are doing their thing with no red cups. And Imperium takes the loss. George Hermoza, what happened?
I think the match was fine. I mean, Imperium can't always be winning all the time.
Yes,
I mean, it's not like Walter took the pin.
True.
But I mean, it was fine. I mean, for example, even every stable, like you got to have that one guy that's going to take the pin.
Well, I'm going to hold it against you. The fact that they're in the United Kingdom and the NXT UK is kind of their crossover thing. Wouldn't you want to keep them over as being stronger?
Also, too, but at the same time, they're not banking on them for Survivor Series. They're banking on Seth Rollins, the team captain. And I think they announced it was Rollins, Ricochet, Orton, McIntyre, and was Kevin Owens on that Team Raw for Survivor Series?
Chat help me out. Let me see if it's confirmed.
But even so, I mean, that's what they're building toward. They're not building for Imperium against Team Raw or Imperium against Team. They're building for Team Raw against Team SmackDown. So I get it. I mean, it was cool to see the Imperium. I know it's like an old school one, but like I love that whole presence. Like I love that theme. I just love their look. I think everything Imperium I think is amazing.
Yes.
So it was cool to see them. Obviously, we all knew that Seth Rollins versus Walter on Raw was not going to be like a clean finish.
Right.
So it was cool. It was just cool to see everything. I think it was a good 8-man tag. I like the 8-man tag better than the main event 6-man tag.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's a fair point.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you said about Imperium. I think they are just one of the coolest stables right now. I understand why they took the loss because, as you said, they're not the ones going into Survivor Series, so it makes sense. But that's, again, where I think, well, why were they brought in? Because they're not relevant to this invasion. It just seemed like, it's convenient, they're here. That's what I didn't like about it. But I love Imperium. I wish they won just because I'm a huge Imperium mark.
It's a good point. See, like, I watch them on NXT and NXT UK. I love them. But if I am a WWE only person and I watch SmackDown where they attack, but it was kind of like really weak attacks in the ring, and them losing on Monday, I don't really quite see them as a threat. That was my concern.
Right.
But I mean, you're right. It's only one match. You can't win all the time.
Yeah, but also too, like, I'm curious too, where I'm curious about like the Office's mentality as far as like having guys like Walter and even like Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews, where I don't know, like, are you trying to get people to watch NXT UK by putting these guys on? Because if that was the case, I would want to see somebody like a Walter, like, show me the best of Walter so I can tune in to watch NXT UK. It was cool to see it from that standpoint, but like, if you're a new fan, like, I always try to think like one of those casual fans who were like, nothing about their appearance on Raw made me want to watch NXT UK. Right. And I feel like that's where they dropped the ball. But then again, I don't know what their mentality is. Like, is it just, hey, let's get them on because we need to emphasize this NXT thing going on? Or
that's where I say they need to slow down on Rollins. I think this is where it would have been a great chance for Imperium to get the win. And then you have Rollins say, look, if we want to stop this NXT invasion, we need to step up and position them as the underdogs. Where now it looks like, as I've said before, it makes NXT look like, yeah, you are the developmental league. You don't belong here. Your best just got beat up by a ragtag team of people. The Imperium should have come out strong, and then that's when Seth Rollins should have done a raw backstage locker room speech.
That's a pun. I love it.
To like say, look, guys, NXT's coming in here. They're beating us up. We need to rally to overcome this, and made it feel like it's not just Raw going, who are these guys coming in here? We're just going to beat him up. That's how it feels right now.
Well, if Rollins is being tagged as being corny, is that a thing you can sell, though? If he's like, come on, guys, we got to step up. It's like, whatever, Seth. You know what I mean? It's just, I feel like there's something missing. I feel like there's a step there dramatically for me to what you're saying, it makes sense. I'm just saying there's a step missing for me to be like, you're right, Rollins, let's band together and take down these evil NXT people.
Well, that's where them actually losing is the connection, and them actually failing. And that's where good heroes need to fail every now and again. You know, in every good superhero movie, in the first act, they get beat up, or the second act, they get beat up. They don't just come in and just burn it down and go, okay.
Also, Mr. Perfect was a heel.
Right.
Everything wrong. But speaking of things that are totally a failure, Lana, Rusev, and Lashley, the storyline continues forever. Lana comes in and gives... Thank you so much, Macho Libre. Lana gets in the ring and has a meandering promo about her sex life.
It was not good.
She's talking about the word sex in weeks' time, and it turns out the bombshell is what? She's 9 weeks pregnant? George.
Let me tell you why this. Let me tell you why this segment is an epic failure. Because hold on, you think it wasn't a failure?
No, I'm just shocked you would actually agree with me. But
let me tell you why it's an epic failure, and I don't think it has so much to do with the actual content. Because I'm not opposed to the actual content of why they're. I mean, kind of the content kind of sucks, but because Lana's not a wrestler. Nope. Lana's not a wrestler. She's not a manager. She's not anything. She looks at this as acting. She probably looks at it as like, oh my God, I'm going out there, I'm delivering a monologue, I'm going to have all these things to say because I'm an actress. Like,
are you popping your hip over there?
Kind of. You know, it's like she looks at it like that. And it's like, and yes, there's a lot of acting involved in pro wrestling, but like when you're actually out there, like, no, you got to make me want to believe what you're saying.
True.
Because what her acting sucked. You know, and then also too, like, maybe we'll find out down the road, but why? Just this whole thing. Just why?
Yeah.
You know? Like, what are we trying to get? Like, what is Lana trying to accomplish? Is she just trying to make Rusev jealous? You know, like, what is exactly her what is she trying to do? What is she trying to accomplish? Like, no, let me know. Like, I think now's the time. It's been 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Why? Like, why are you doing this?
That's a good point. So what I understand it is Rusev cheated on Lana. Lana cheated on Rusev. She's been dating Lashley for 7 weeks. She's 9 weeks pregnant, even though Rusev was a sex addict and he wanted to have sex with her in different parts and pay-per-views. Quality stuff. Jack Farmer, how do you end it?
That's, I think, so I'm on the record of saying I thought this was fun, trash TV. That was just a guilty pleasure. It is getting to that point where it's starting to feel like it's TV filler and that they're just trying to use it to fill up long chunks of time on the show. Today especially, because they didn't progress the story really much at all outside of the Lana's pregnant thing. But even that, I don't know where you go. I mean, my thought is Rusev now has to go find a significant other to be the opposite of Lana, and then you have like a mixed tag match or something.
That is a very long way for a mixed tag match.
Because I would have liked, and I kind of see what he's trying to say too, because I was thinking the other day where, like, obviously I don't think Rusev was cheating on Lana. Like, I think that accusation is false. Because Rusev, obviously, like, I don't think he would do that. Granted, like, I feel like I know them. But, like,
I know Rusev, and he would never do that.
Because obviously Lana is making all these accusations that are just flat out not true, with her being pregnant, not true, blah, 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 not true. So I would kind of like, and I use this because we all know the storyline is, like you said, I thought it had potential, but now it's just borderline sucking. Like it just borderline like just really, really bad. Yeah. So now use it to maybe build other stars. Like, for example, just out of nowhere, Rusev trained with Rikishi. I would try to look up some kind of connection with who else trained with Rikishi? Vanessa Bourne. Cool. Yeah. Maybe try to bring her up and say like, hey, she's the girl that you cheated on me with. I have proof. Here's pictures of you together. And Rusev's like, no man, we just trained together. Like, I don't know. Just something where it's like, hey, at least get something out of it, not just like you said, just filler or trash. I just think mostly it's about Lana. I think her role in this, all this is trash. I wouldn't be surprised if she's the one that actually came up with a storyline just to get back on TV every week.
I agree. I'm not sure how it's going to end. The nuclear option is to send all three. If you have a general manager, send all three of them to couples counseling and have them work it out. But I don't know how that pays off.
Who was the counselor for Team Hell No?
Yeah, that same guy.
They did the same thing with Bayley and Sasha, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot his name.
What I think is going to happen is, if you guys remember all those years ago where Kane impregnated Lita, I think the same thing is going to happen.
Snitsky's going to come in.
Maybe like a Snitsky character, or if
it wasn't his
someone
fault.
Falling onto Lana and her resulting in having a miscarriage.
Well, she already said she's not pregnant.
Oh, well, there you go. It speaks for itself right there. But I do think there's going to be a Snitsky character coming in soon.
Lars Sullivan's going to come back.
Oh my goodness. That would make it truly terrible.
Why are you so angry?
Like, honestly, there is no win to this storyline. Like, what is the payoff? Like, it doesn't make sense whatsoever.
Like, are you trying to get Lashley like a title shot or something? Are you trying to get Rusev like out of the company? Like, what? Just give me what are you trying to accomplish? Yeah. Just give me that. If nothing else, just give me that.
I don't want to be called a heel in the chat.
Or saving grace is they somehow get Maury Povich on the show.
If there was something,
they're gonna get Jerry Springer.
If there was something, we have to find out that there was a reason Lashley's trying to get rid of Rusev beyond Lana. There's got to be like he has something that was preventing him from getting a title shot. I don't know what it would be, but we've got to find out that it was all a big scheme by Lashley and that he's not actually into Lana. He just wanted to get rid of Rusev. But it's got to be more than just because I'm a jerk. There's got to be something there that makes us go, oh, that was the whole scheme.
Right.
And then that puts over Lashley as a heel, and then otherwise at this point it's like, okay, well, you're divorcing. Goodbye.
Yeah.
I don't know why are we still talking?
Yeah, exactly. Why would they tell your people in Manchester in the middle of an arena, I'm divorcing my husband? But let's move on because we're a little short on time. We had another tag team match.
You know it's the Mac Militant.
Yeah, talking about Enterprises. Women's tag team match, titles on the line. Asuka, Kairi Sane, taking on Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. So it turns out that last week Natalya and Charlotte beat the champs in a non-title match to get the actual title shot, but Natalya has quote-unquote family issues, so Becky Lynch was slotted into that. I'm not sure how that works. If your tag team ever can't make it, you can't slot in somebody else to get the tag team title shot, but the match itself was pretty solid. Thoughts about that, Jack? Start with you. About the match, the title defense, and the Kabuki Warriors, and the appearance of Shayna Baszler towards the end.
I thought, this was a great example of Becky Lynch taking a loss to then make her more sympathetic, I think, going forward. Now you believe more and more that she could lose to Shayna Baszler or Bayley down the road because she didn't just stomp everyone and say she's going to burn it down. I did like the match. I like that the Kabuki Warriors got a win by pinning the current biggest women's wrestling star on the planet. And I thought it was good. I thought it served its purpose in every way, shape, and form. I thought I would have rather Bayley got a little more shine because she's been kind of dominated in this three-way women's feud with the titles. She didn't have the one-on-one stare down like the other two did. She hasn't attacked anyone really. And even today when she came out, she kind of got beat up for the most part. So she seems like if she doesn't win that match, she's going to look like a chump.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it was good. I mean, I like that. I mean, it's one of those where we always think about Charlotte and Becky, like they feuded so much. It's like, oh, but now they're teaming. Now suddenly they're friends, you know? So, I mean, I like that they didn't. I mean, if this was like old school Vince or maybe even new school Vince, who knows? Vince never changed.
This is one school Vince.
Charlotte and Becky would be champions by now.
Yeah.
Like, how often did we see like two, was it strange bedfellows, like just really like be champs? So we saw John Cena, Miz,
Rock and Sock.
Yeah, well, I mean that made
Big
sense.
Show, Miz.
But it's like we saw it's like so many disgruntled teammates be champs, and it's like I feel like we were one step away from that. But I'm glad that they kept it on Kabuki Warriors. I think they have a lot of potential as champs. I like that they're able to go to any show, and I want to see them more. I want to see them against some other team in NXT. I think that'd be fun.
Sure. What does Shayna Baszler have to prove? If she's that dominant at NXT, she already thinks she's already the best in the world. Wouldn't someone be like, I'm good with people knowing I'm good? Why would I go to Raw or SmackDown for 3 different shows that cause the same damage? It makes it the same person, Bayley twice, even 3 times if you count tonight. What's her upside? Like what like character speaking? What's her motivation to do?
Showing off.
Yeah, she's
You're
a
the
heel.
baddest mofo. Like you wanna show off you live up to that title.
Fair.
I will say the stare down between her and Becky was great.
Yes.
I was thinking box office.
Yep.
I know that's an Evan term. I don't know if we're allowed to still use it, but box office.
Send them a check in the mail.
But I think it's a great way to naturally bring her on to the main roster if we're still considering NXT a developmental brand.
It's still a developmental brand.
I believe it is too.
Whoa,
but
really?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's the third brand. It has its own show in USA.
If
Okay.
Seth Rollins went there, you'd say he's going down to NXT.
Finn Balor go down.
Finn Balor went down to NXT.
This is why I think it's going to be a developmental brand until these upcoming things
Hot
change.
takes abound.
Okay. When you're in NXT, you have to live in Orlando.
Okay.
When it's a third brand, so considered a third brand as equal, when you're allowed to live anywhere you want and be on NXT, then I think it'll be a even playing
Well,
field.
people still live in Orlando if they're on Raw or SmackDown. It's just a hub.
But
for us.
they don't have to live in Orlando if
Fair,
you're on Raw or
fair,
SmackDown.
fair.
Yeah, and let me ask you this. Shotzi Blackheart, I believe I'm saying her name correctly, was recently signed. What brand is she going to debut on? She's not debuting on Raw. She's debuting on NXT.
Well, the thing is, you don't debut, but the thing is, NXT. Okay, NXT is split now, though. You have the NXT what's actually aired, and there's like the regional tours.
Okay.
You do the regional tours on NXT, sure, but then you still can be assigned the brand.
I will bet that people are not going to be skipping NXT. Everyone's going to keep going through NXT as it is now.
I understand that, but I'm saying is she can skip the TV of NXT. No,
I don't think so.
Maybe. I mean, Braun Strowman did, but then again, that was 4 years ago.
Right.
But like I said, it's one of those where I think, and this, I could be very, very wrong about this, but please, somebody correct me. When you're on NXT, you get paid a certain amount of money. Mm-hmm. When you go up to Raw and SmackDown, I'm almost sure that you're going to get a raise.
right.
If that wasn't the case, then yeah, it'd be all the same playing field. But no, I still think of NXT. I look at NXT as ECW back in the day in 99, 2000. It was a fun place to be. Cool environment, cool shows, cool everything. But still, like, you're gonna want to move up to WWF or WCW. Even this kind of storyline, this is kind of everything that the Invasion should have been, where you're not really seeing, where you're kind of seeing everything just kind of its own character, as opposed to like, hey, let's unite to take down the big monster. Like, no, I kind of like that. This is everything, like when ECW invaded in 2001. Like, that's how it should have been. They should have been kind of that one that kind of infiltrates, all the stuff. But again, so I look at that. That's my comparison. Raw, SmackDown, NXT to WWF, WCW, ECW. They're all fantastic. ECW was considered major league. You'd want to get signed by ECW because that's still a lot of exposure. But let's be real, Raw and Nitro were the place to be.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Wow, thanks a lot. We'll see you in the chat in the comments. If you guys are hearing these guys talking about developmental, is NXT a developmental brand? I would love to hear your thoughts about that because it seems to be a little bit polarizing thought process.
This is where people say that we don't like NXT. I love NXT.
I love NXT.
You are AEW. We know you don't like AEW. I'm just kidding. Nah, yeah, I just think it's cool. Two different schools of thought to think about it. I know the company line is that it's a third full-on brand, but you guys are saying otherwise. TK, when she's here, would agree that it's more of a third brand. It's cool to hear your perspective. So I want to see what the chat thinks about that. But moving on.
Or the comments down below.
Oh, yeah, the comments down below. Yeah, if you're not watching or listening live. So we actually had our first ever sanctioned 24/7 title match where the title was on the line. There was the introductions. And
This was stupid.
Okay. Well, the point is, do you have to have a second sanctioned match? One, it was 24/7. But more importantly, it went to the backstage area where Rowan, a more confusing Rowan with talking to a burlap sack Rowan, was showing up. Thoughts about the match and what happened afterwards, Jack Farmer?
I think that the 24/7 title has lost its way. It was a fun backstage thing. I think it started to get stale. Now it's starting to feel like it doesn't necessarily belong here anymore. Unless you're going to start having real matches and just make it like a European title once was, or the TV title in WCW. I don't understand the point anymore. It seems silly. It was funny before, but now when you're having actual matches, it's not funny. Right. Now it's just a bad match.
It's like your friend who just shows up late to everything and is a little intoxicated. It's not funny anymore, man.
Right.
Yeah. If you guys want my thoughts on the 24/7 championship, watch any pay-per-view panel that I've been on because I pretty much say it out every single time. But let me tell you why I hated this match. Okay. Here they are. They have the match. Archery versus Singh Brothers. Cool. They're doing all these moves. They're calling the spots. Dude, just roll them up. It works for every other person that becomes champion. Just roll them up. What are you doing all these moves for? Just roll them up from behind.
Jeebers. More importantly, the Eric Rowan stuff. Let's talk about him for a second. Eric Rowan seems to be talking to a burlap sack.
It's a cat.
It's a cat. We don't know what's in the bag. We don't know. And he was actually backstage with the Singh Brothers and apparently did something to them really, really disgusting at night because the lights are turned off. One, what's in the bag? And two, what's up with his match? It was really quick. Basically set up this whole bag sack storyline. Thoughts about that? Are you on board? Are you interested?
I mean,
you care?
Eric Rowan was being built so well for a while, and alongside Daniel Bryan, and then when he broke away from Daniel Bryan, now he's got this knapsack thing where he's talking to, like I said, a kitten or some creature. It feels very, very cheesy wrestling.
Yeah.
Like it's probably gonna be something corny in there.
Lana sex tape.
A Lana sex tape. But I mean, it's too early. I'm not gonna poo-poo all over it, but I'm cautious with it. I'm not super. I right now it seems a little silly to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not on board with it. I mean, because I like Rowan. I think he's got a lot of talent. I think he has something very unique to offer. So at least it's gonna give him something to do.
I think that's a very good point.
Speaking of something to do, the Viking Raiders take on Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews. If you guys haven't watched NXT,
You know it's the
man, tag teams are happening all over. Yeah! Thanks, Pancho Libre. These guys are NXT UK former tag team champions. They were fantastic together, which they were a thrown together team, but they kind of found a way to gel.
At least they were in the same tights.
Yes, but that wasn't always the case because plus Morgan Webster had this whole mod Austin Powers thing going on for a bit. But the Viking Raiders pretty much handled the business. NXT UK also takes on the loss tonight. Thoughts about the match and the implications for Survivor Series? How strong is the Raw tie?
NXT UK lost all across the board, didn't they?
Correct. Yep.
They lost 3 times because that first one was by DQ and then the next one by pinfall.
True. Absolutely.
Yeah. So not a good look for NXT UK.
Not a good look.
Again. Like I said, I think right now you need to go out of your way to make NXT look strong because you're introducing them to new people. So I was a little disappointed with that, but you can't have the Viking Raiders take their first loss to 2 guys that no one has seen outside of NXT UK.
Absolutely.
So it made sense. I thought the match was good. I thought it was a fun match. It was better than seeing the Viking Raiders beat random
East Hampton
Polo Boys.
Yeah, but Jack's all about that was buy their merch and everything.
Yeah, I want to be an East Hampton Polo Boy. But
all the factions.
All the factions. I'm in all of them. Hopefully I don't meet them at the same time. But at least it was an interesting match. The Viking Raiders, I've gotten so used to them just squashing people. This was at least fun.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I thought as purely as a match, taking everything else away, I thought it was a really fun match.
George, this is a one-time off after Survivor Series. Would you loan out the Viking Raiders to NXT UK, or would you keep them stateside?
I keep them stateside. I mean, they've kind of been all over the world already. I think I want to see some new matchups. I know them with the OC's got a lot of history in Japan, but Usos are still there somewhere. AOP, I want to see a big AOP Viking Raiders clash. I think that'll be huge. I don't need to see Viking Raiders ever. They haven't really done much for me, honestly, since they got to the main roster. Yeah. NXT, they were cool. I think their best stuff was in Ring of Honor. So I kind of want to see that Viking Raiders in WWE, but I mean, I get it.
Fair enough. Moving on, we have Cedric Alexander against Andrade. If this show had a boudoir, I would put Cedric Alexander in it. But I said if this show had a boudoir, I would
cocoa butter, ladies and gentlemen.
Cocoa
All
butter.
the cocoa
butter. Hashtag stay ashy. So anyway, lost his match from a stiff kick or a stiff move DDT from Andrade. Thoughts about Cedric Alexander? It seems like he lost this week and last week against Buddy Murphy. Is he kind of losing his way, or just kind of like, hey, 2 losses ain't no big deal?
Justin Timberlake losing his way, and I love cocoa butter. Am I allowed to say that?
She will spare your life. Don't worry.
Love cocoa butter. I mean, I'd like to think there's some good in all of this, where at some point we will see Cedric Alexander, do more than losing every week. Yeah. So, I mean, at least he didn't get squashed by like whoever, right? Like he lost the competitive match to Andrade. Yeah. Last week was a fun match with Buddy Murphy. Probably next week he'll lose to who knows, Aleister Black or whatever, and it'll be a fun match as well.
That's kind of really likely, right? Does Cedric need a mouthpiece, Jack?
I think, look, here's the thing, and we were talking about this backstage. Every episode, half the wrestlers have to lose. It's just the way it is. Unless you want a bunch of DQs or non-finishes, half of them are going to have to lose. I would like to see Cedric win, but at least he's on TV having competitive matches. As George said, I would much rather have seen this than have seen Andrade beat random guy number 12.
Right.
So at least this gave us something exciting, gave us something fun. It kept Cedric in our minds so that when he does get wins, it'll make sense instead of being like, oh, where has he been?
Yeah.
And also, as far as getting lost or buried, as some people say, there's a lot of people backstage that would love the chance to be losing on TV. I mean, I'm sure EC3 would love the chance to put over Andrade.
There are kids starving across the world. Finish your potatoes, right?
Because even you look at like some other stuff where even if somebody's losing every week, hey, Jinder Mahal used to lose every single week, and he ended up becoming the 50th WWE champion.
And he lost a year after that too.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's like this nice little spike in his career, and then back to where he was.
But at least he was one of the select few. Yeah. One of the now 51 of being WWE champion.
In hindsight, it's a guilty pleasure. I actually did not. I understand when people say it was pretty much a bad run, but I still enjoyed it when he was there, when he was the WWE champion. So, question for you: if you were a Phantom GM and Cedric's on your roster, so what would you do with him? Would you put him back down, take him off TV? Would you keep him on matches, new characters?
I'm a big fan of factions, so I'd put him like just anything, whatever. Find something in common with somebody else, with other people, and just do that. I feel like factions is kind of a lost art. I mean, we see with Imperium. Imperium's great. We've seen Undisputed Era.
Yeah,
OC is kind of a trio, things like that. But I don't know.
So you're against randomly thrown together tag teams, but if it's a randomly thrown together stable or faction,
because factions, they at least have a name.
You know,
for example, how. Like, for example, you look at New Day. Like, you think, I think it'd be a little bit different if they're like, oh, there's Kofi, Big E, and Xavier Woods, like every single time. No, they're the New Day. At least they have a name. They're not just. I mean, they were thrown together, but at least they had a name. They had the same color
types. But names can't make anything because, remember when Christian teamed with Lance Storm and they were the Un-Americans with Test?
Yes, one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Yes, that's my point. It's not.
But at least they had something in common. They were all Un-American.
Yeah.
They were Canadian, and then William Regal came in. They were still the Un-Americans.
And I challenge you to find anything wrong with anything Lance Storm has ever done.
Okay, whatever. What I'm trying to say is a name is not a faction make. X Factor was a good guilty pleasure, but not because it had a name.
That had a great theme song.
I know you hate that factor, but
hell yeah, I'm all about Uncle Cracker.
Yeah, Uncle Cracker.
I love Uncle Cracker.
Shout out to Crackers.
Shout out to X Factor too.
You said shout out to Crackers.
I ripped all teams, and now I feel bad saying.
Thank you, Flobo.
Wait, hold on.
Stop.
Salted or unsalted?
I'm an unsalted top person.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm a big salted.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what I like to do? I like to get the chicken soup and put the crackers in there.
Yeah.
And then put a little bit of cheese and it makes the crackers all
But
soggy.
if the crackers have salt, then you have way too much. You have like a sodium overload.
That's true.
Yeah, man. Shout out to body health and all that stuff. So, but the thing is, I'm worried about factions though, because I feel like there's a lot of them going on now. There's Undisputed Era, there's Gallus, there's Imperium, there's all these things, but there really isn't like a Shield. There isn't like that is the faction face, quote unquote, of all of WWE right now. At least I don't think so. What do you guys think?
There's definitely not a face of WWE faction right now. But I agree. I love factions. I always say the NWO was my favorite run in all of wrestling, watching that happen.
Over 3MB?
3-man band!
It actually be a second to remember what 3MB stood for.
I got kids!
That Hornswoggle El Torito WLC match was awesome.
Oh, yeah. El Torito. Wow.
But yeah, I don't know.
I like to throw off his game.
Yeah, exactly. El Torito was a very, very strong bit. The Matadors.
But yeah, there's none of them
Puerto
are.
Ricans.
I don't. It's unfair because the Shield was an anomaly. Like they were such a hot act right off the bat, and they had 3 huge stars in it.
And it's not even that. They went all in on the Shield. If they would have went all in on, let's say, like Nexus, they would have been a lot bigger deal. But because they didn't, they decided to go all in. I mean, maybe it had something to do with the 3 talent that was involved in the Shield that, it was easier to bank on these guys.
Right.
But, yeah, I think that they're not willing to do that right now.
Yeah.
So...
But I do think we're getting a lot more factions. I know on this show, as long as I've been on the show, we've always asked for more and more, but we're getting them.
I like them.
I'm a big faction guy. I love factions. I remember I used to, with my action figures, I remember going to House of Fabrics, if I remember that was before it was Joann's, it was called House of Fabrics.
Really?
And I would buy colors of every single... just every single color of fabric, and I'd make back when the Blue World Order was hot. I'd pretty much match all my action figures colors, and that'd be in that faction: Green World Order, Blue World Order, White World Order, Black World Order. Like
I have a theory.
Order.
I think you're immortal because you know these wrestling things in House of Fabrics. I didn't even know existed. I think you've existed 150 years. On this
Nobody remember anybody in the chat remember House of Fabrics?
No.
You know what Joann's is,
I know
right?
Joann's.
I wasn't always about
Flashback,
Joann's.
pirate ship with George Hermoza sitting on it.
This makes no sense. Our last match of the night is actually one that's kind of important of what happened around it. Drew McIntyre takes on Sin Cara.
Did you say Drew McIntyre?
Drew McIntyre takes on Sin Cara, which was going to be his last televised match before asking for release.
Well, yeah. Before asking the release, I don't know if he's going to get it. But
True. I didn't say he
for
quit.
his
He said he asked for his release. Thoughts about the match, and if you're Sin Cara, is that the right move?
If I got beat up the way Sin Cara got beat up, I'd ask for my release too.
Yeah.
He got that power bomb to the outside. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'd have been done. I'm done. I'm retiring. I'm becoming an accountant, and I am out of it. I'm out of it.
You got power bombs to a cubicle?
I'm done.
I'm done.
I mean, that looked brutal, but I thought it was a good match for. I think he did a good job of making Drew McIntyre look like a star.
True.
And Drew McIntyre needs to rack up more wins, so I thought it was good.
George, what about the idea, because you are an active competitor in the Squared Circle, about Sin Cara basically saying, look, I don't think I'm going to get any higher doing this thing. I want out. Is that noble? Is that kind of not the company man line? What is the right way of going about that?
I guess the right way to go about it is not to do it publicly. But who am I? Because at the same time, we don't know what these guys are going through. These guys have been with the company for 8, 9, 10, 12 years.
True.
And they haven't really done anything. And especially, honestly, and kind of going back to last week, and I was mentioning this on the Espanol show, where I liked this teammate of Sin Cara and Catalina. I think it was something new, something different. But then now that we know, it's ended up going to be nothing. Wait, what? Now you're going to do back to nothing with Sin Cara? So if he feels like he's more valuable somewhere else, kudos to him. A lot of people maybe don't have the guts to do that. I'm not going to sit there and try to define someone else's success. If he thinks he's going to be successful everywhere else, then kudos to him. I'm nobody to sit there and tell somebody else how to live their life.
Excellent point. And thank you so much for joining in with us, George. I know you're going down the hall for Raw, Después del Show in Espanol, but it's time for us to get out of here. Jack Farmer, where can the world find you online?
You can find me at jackcfarmer.com as well as at RealJackFarmer across all social media. You can also check me out on the AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite After Show every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. right here on on AfterBuzz TV.
And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter, Hermoza, GHERMOZA. I also cover Monday Night Raw in Spanish and the AfterBuzz Latino channel. Anybody of Spanish speaking out there, feel free to join in. We want to shout out to all the Latino people. We want to know what you guys think. We want to know your guys' thoughts. Yes, Roasting for Wrestling, December 21st, Turkey Mania 3. Be there.
Damn, I'm Flobo Boyce. You can follow me on Twitter at Flobo Boyce, on Instagram at Flobito, and please support the homie and buy a t-shirt at flobito.threadless.com. But until next time, buzz you later.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.